We've been secretly married for 7 years, and in that time, I've given birth 5 times. Each and every one was a stillbirth. Gu Pacey, worried about my health, specially hired a top-tier nutritionist to help me recover and regulate my diet. He comforted me, saying we would surely have a healthy child one day. The day I found out I was pregnant again, I went to find Gu Pacey, overjoyed, but right outside the private room, I overheard his conversation with his best friend, Lee Chuan. You killed Kai Wan's 5 children just to provide specimens for Lin Manman's medical experiment. Have you lost your mind? They were your own flesh and blood. Gu Pacey looked utterly indifferent. Man works so tirelessly. I don't understand medicine. So all I can do is be her strongest pillar of support and give her everything I have. Anyway, my marriage certificate with Kai Wan is fake, and the child we had is an illegitimate secret. If it dies, so be it. The only one who can be my wife is Man, so, the marriage I cherished so deeply was nothing but a sham. The devoted husband I saw was also a butcher in human skin. In that case, there's no point in dragging this out any further. With a conflicted expression, Lee Chuan voiced the question weighing on his mind. If your heart has always belonged to Lin Man, why did you propose to Kai Wan back then? And why did you let her have your child? Gu Pacey said with a mocking tone. Well, obviously because Man was going abroad to study, and I'm a normal man with needs, right? Kai Wan was a virgin when she got with me. Clean enough. Tricking her into a secret marriage was just to stop her from sleeping around and bringing some filthy disease back to me. As for the kids, I don't like using condoms, and she was so desperate to be a mother, so we had them for fun. It's not like I ever planned on letting them live. Anyway, Lee Chuan's face showed a pained expression. But you made Kai Wan live in the shadows for 7 whole years, and you even caused the death of her 5 children. Now you're about to marry someone else. Kai Wan loved you so much. Isn't this just? Gu Pacey cut him off impatiently. Enough, she's just a college graduate from the countryside. Staying by my side, she's lived a life of luxury that others can only dream of. I've been more than good to her. In 3 days, Man and I are going abroad to hold our wedding. Make sure you come for the celebration. Seeing how resolute he was, Lee Chuan sighed. Pacey, don't say I didn't warn you. Those who betray a sincere heart deserve to swallow 1,000 needles. Kai Wan is a good woman. I hope you won't live to regret this. But, as long as I can marry Man in a grand and glorious fashion, I'll die without a single regret. Stop trying to scare me with that sappy nonsense. Lee Chuan shook his head helplessly and said no more. The joy in my heart was instantly snuffed out. I stood there frozen, my face cold and numb. Gu Pacey looked up and saw me standing outside the door. My tear-streaked face frightened him. He rushed out in a panic. Xiao Wan, when did you get here? Why are you crying like this? There was a hint of guilt in his voice. I wiped away my tears haphazardly and gave a little laugh. It's nothing. My false eyelash came unglued and fell into my eye. I'm just terrible at applying makeup. Gu Pacey breathed a sigh of relief, pulled me into his arms, and said with affection, seeing you cry breaks my heart. You don't need to wear any of this. My wife is the most beautiful woman in the world just as she is. Come on, let's go home. His sweet words were as charming as ever. But I could no longer feel their sweetness. Back when I had just graduated from university and joined the Gu family's company, my supervisor gave me a hard time and berated me. It was Gu Pacey who appeared out of nowhere, stood up for me, and defended my dignity. He said he would forever be my sheltering tree, shielding me from all storms and protecting me for a lifetime. I believed him and gave him my whole heart and soul. When he proposed we keep our marriage a secret, I agreed without a moment's hesitation. I was terrified that a CEO's wife from a humble background would negatively impact Gu Corporation's stock price every time he learned I was pregnant. Gu Pacey would be as happy as a child, shouting about how he was going to be a father. Fearing I would be in pain, he repeatedly instructed the private doctor to use general anesthesia, and then stayed by my side without leaving for a moment. I thought he cared about me and the child. It turns out, it was only to make it easier for him to personally end the child's life, so he could provide a specimen for the one he truly loved. All this time, I blamed my own poor health for the stillbirth and felt guilty towards him. Looking back now, it's utterly ridiculous. Back at home, while Gu Pacey was taking a shower, I scheduled an abortion and bought myself a plane ticket for 3 days later. Fresh out of the shower, Gu Pacey toweled his hair dry and said, as if offhandedly, Xiao Wn, I have to go abroad on a business trip in 3 days. I'll probably be tied up for over a month. Over a month, just enough time to have a wedding and then go on a honeymoon. Pacey, I haven't been feeling well lately. I'd really like you to stay and keep me company. Do you have to go? Gu Pacey's brow furrowed instantly, his tone turning cold. Xiao Wn, we've been married for years. You should know me by now. I don't like women interfering with my work. Be a good girl and wait for me at home. I'll bring you a gift when I return. With my last hope shattered, I nodded in utter dejection. You're right, I was being willful. Go ahead, then. Only then did Gu Pacey break into a smile, pressing me down onto the bed. His breath, laced with the scent of alcohol, lingered by my ear. Xiao Wn, the nutritionist says you've recovered well. How about we try for a child tonight? I really want to watch our child grow up with you. Hearing those words, a wave of bitter irony washed over me. I gently pushed him away without a word. Let's do it another day. You've been drinking. And it could affect the baby's health. Knowing this was my biggest concern, Gu Pacey didn't question it. He kissed my forehead and fell asleep. While he was sound asleep, I picked up his jacket. I never knew Gu Pacey had another phone. The lock screen wallpaper was a photo of him kissing Lin Man. Unsurprisingly, the password was Lin Man's birthday. Opening their chat history, I immediately saw the photos of my 5 deceased children. Man, I've secured the specimen for you. It'll be delivered by helicopter this afternoon. It's very fresh, so it won't compromise your research data. You've used up the last specimen already. Don't worry, Kai Wn is pregnant again. I'll find a way to induce an early delivery. You'll have a new specimen very soon. Our Man is such a diligent and hard-working girl. You're definitely going to be a brilliant doctor one day. Man, when are you coming back to the country? I've been keeping the position of my wife open for you. Kai Wn is just a tool for me to vent my desires on. My hands trembled as I touched my lower abdomen, bitter tears streaming down my face. This child, he never should have come into this world. The album held thousands of photos of the two of them, from childhood all the way up. On every single one, Gu Pacey had left a note, a sweet nothing, each one unique. For 7 years of their secret marriage, Gu Pacey spent most of his time on business trips. Turns out, he was off keeping Lin Man company. Over 100 different wedding banquet design proposals lay archived in his WeChat favorites, each meticulously planned down to the finest detail by Gu Pacey himself. Every single version was extravagantly luxurious, all for Lin Man to choose from. For every holiday, big or small, he would prepare exquisite and lavish gifts for Lin Man. No matter how busy he was, he would cross oceans to personally deliver them into her hands. And me, I only deserved the freebies that came with those gifts. I remember on the day we got our marriage certificate, Gu Pacey didn't even give me a bouquet of flowers. That evening, while we were out for a walk and passed by a florist, seeing the hopeful look in my eyes, he just said flatly, "This is the kind of thing only silly young girls like. Xiaowan, you're not that childish." Yet he bought an estate abroad, planting an entire garden of rare and precious flowers for Lin Man. Watching the two of them kiss amidst the sea of blossoms, I suddenly laughed, a laugh that brought tears to my eyes. After photographing everything, I retrieved that sham marriage certificate. Gu Pacey said at the time that he didn't want me to be too tired, so he specially arranged for officials to come to our home to handle the paperwork. So, that was just an actor he hired. I tore up the marriage certificate and threw it in the trash. Back in bed, looking at Gu Pacey's handsome profile, I felt none of the old flutter in my heart. My heart was filled with desolation, and I lay awake all night. The next day, Gu Pacey had the nutritionist prepare me a lavish breakfast as usual. I used to be touched by his thoughtfulness and care, but after seeing last night's photos, I knew it was just a perfunctory gesture. Lin Man had tasted every single one of my nutritional meals beforehand. The difference was, hers was made by Gu Pacey himself. At that thought, a wave of intense nausea surged in my stomach, and I doubled over, retching. Gu Pacey rushed over to support me. Xiao Wn, what's wrong? A flicker of pleasant surprise lit up his eyes. You didn't, again, I took in his expression, a silent sneer forming in my heart. What are you so happy about? Are you planning to use this child's birth to win over your sweetheart again? No, you know my constitution is weak. After those stillbirths, My body is completely drained, it's very difficult for me to conceive. Gu Pacey comforted me gently. Xiao Wn, don't say that, it wasn't your fault. And I don't blame you, just focus on recovering your health. We will have a healthy child someday. Don't be upset, it's Mom's 60th birthday, and there will be a lot of guests. We can't miss it as her children. Come on, I'll take you to the hotel to join the celebration. Then he shifted his tone. But since we're keeping our marriage a secret even from Mom, if someone asks about who you are, I knew what he was going to say and cut him off calmly. Understood, I'll just say I'm your assistant. I knew it. Xiaowan is always so sensible. Upon arriving at the hotel, the first thing I saw was Lin Manman clinging to her mother-in-law's arm, acting coquettishly. Dressed in her haute couture gown, she pretended to take the old woman's pulse, declaring she would live to be 200, flattered and beaming with delight. My mother-in-law immediately slipped the jade bracelet off her wrist, intending to give it to Lin Manman. That bracelet was the Gu family heirloom, passed down only to the daughters-in-law through the generations. When she saw me, Lin Manman gave a meaningful smile, yet her words were, "Auntie, this is far too precious. I really couldn't possibly accept it. Peisai brought his girlfriend, she's the one who'll be your future daughter-in-law, and she might even give you 5 strapping grandsons. You should give it to her." My mother-in-law turned her gaze towards me. She looked me up and down, her eyes filled with contempt as she took in my simple, ordinary dress. What girlfriend? She's just a little assistant from Peisai's company. No morals at such a young age, having babies for some man out of wedlock. And all 5 of them stillborn. Serves her right. Back in my day, a little hussy like that would have been thrown in the river in a pig cage. She's nothing like you. Man, a proper girl who knows how to conduct herself. Perfect timing. Pacey isn't getting any younger. So I'll take matters into my own hands today and have him marry you. This wasn't the first time I'd attended a Gu family banquet in the role of an assistant. Gu Pacey once said he was afraid his mother would look down on my background and refuse to let me marry into the family. He was so sure about me that we went ahead and got the marriage certificate first, planning to gradually win his mother over later. Touched by his unwavering commitment, I didn't object. Little did I know that wait would stretch on for 7 years. Somehow, his mother found out about my history of having 5 stillbirths. She branded me as a loose, promiscuous woman, calling me a little slut at every turn, and demanded Gu Pacey throw me out. In the past, Gu Pacey would have defended me, but now, his eyes were only for the radiant and captivating Lin Manman. How could he possibly spare a thought for me? Hearing his mother say this, Gu Pacey feigned reluctance and said, "Fine, it just so happens I have a business trip abroad the day after tomorrow. Man can accompany me, and we'll hold the wedding there." Not a moment of hesitation, Lin Man blushed coyly. "But I haven't even tried on a wedding dress or looked at rings yet." The very next second, Gu Pacey had his staff bring in 23 exquisite haute couture wedding gowns. Each was a private commission from an internationally renowned fashion master, requiring a minimum 3-year advance reservation. To match the style of each wedding dress, a corresponding diamond ring was also provided, each one as large as a pigeon's egg. One of those pink diamond rings, I just saw it last month on a televised jewelry auction. It went for 200 million. It was clear all these things had been prepared well in advance. Overwhelmed with delight, Lin Man gave Gu Pacey a kiss on the cheek. "Wow, they're all my size, and the number 23. That's the year we met. Pacey, you're so thoughtful. Tell me, have you had your eye on me since we were kids?" She feigned a playful pout. Gu Pacey responded with a soft smile. But the deep affection and adoration in his eyes said it all. I looked down at the simple band on my finger, the one Gu Pacey gave me the day he proposed. It was even a size too small, cutting painfully into my finger, yet I could never bring myself to take it off. Looking at the diamond rings he gave to Lin Man, they were the exact same size as the one I wore. So, this was the truth all along. It wasn't carelessness, nor a momentary lapse of memory. In his heart, there was only room to remember everything about Lin Man. Standing beside them, I felt like a ridiculous clown. I walked silently to the restroom and kept splashing my face with ice-cold water, washing away the tears. The moment I stepped out of the restroom, I fell into a warm embrace. Gu Pacey handed me an exquisitely designed bottle of perfume and coaxed patiently, "Are you jealous? It's Mom's birthday today. I couldn't just go against her wishes." Agreeing to marry Lin Manman is just for show. The wedding dress and the diamond ring are just to placate her. Once we're abroad, I'll make everything clear to her. You and I are the real married couple with the official certificate. Xiao Wn, I promise you, once I get through this busy month, I will definitely talk to Mom and make our relationship public. I'll give you the grand wedding you deserve. Please, try to understand me, okay? I know you love perfume. And I went through a lot of trouble to get this bottle for you. It's a new creation by an internationally renowned master perfumer. See how much I love you. A wave of bitterness washed over me. This perfume, it was one of the wedding favors from his ceremony with Lin Manman. To make the wedding banquet grand enough, he invited over 1,000 people, every single one of them. The one who's truly being brushed off here is me. A notification on my phone reminded me of my surgery scheduled for the afternoon. Gu Pacey saw it and asked, puzzled, Xiao Wn, what kind of surgery are you having? I slipped my phone into my bag and smiled. It's nothing, just some spam. I understand everything you're saying, and I get it. Gu Pacey kissed my forehead. You're always so understanding. Xiao Wn, I'll go mingle with the guests now and be home to keep you company tonight. I quietly followed him and discovered he wasn't heading to the main hall, but rather to a guest room upstairs. Through the slightly ajar door, Lin Manman was visible, wearing nothing but a piece of lingerie, her voice dripping with seduction. Pacey, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for so long. I think Xiaowan seems a bit unwell. Maybe we should call it off today. We'll have plenty of chances after we're married. I should go check on her first. Lin Manman threw her arms around his neck, pressing her voluptuous body against him. Pacey, how could you bear to leave me all alone? It's been so long. Don't tell me you haven't missed me. We're getting married soon. I want to have your baby. You don't have to wear anything tonight. As many times as you want, I'm all yours. Okay. A flush of desire instantly colored the corners of Gu Pacey's eyes. He could hold back no longer, pressing her down onto the bed with a frantic urgency. The scene grew increasingly unbearable, their ragged breaths cutting into my heart like knives. I couldn't bear to watch any longer. I turned and fled in a wretched state. The moment I stumbled out of the hotel, a wave of nausea hit me again, and I crouched on the ground, retching. A bottle of chilled wine was poured over my head. Lin Manman tossed the wine bottle aside and looked at me with a sneer. Kai Wn, are you some kind of brood sow? You've already lost 5 children. And you can still get pregnant. I'm a medical student, don't think I can't tell that was morning sickness just now. I'm about to become Pacey's real wife, while you're nothing but my stand-in, a homewrecker, a tool he uses to vent his desires. That thing in your belly is nothing but a bastard child. Do you really think Pacey will fall in love with you just because you're pregnant again? Don't be delusional. With a single word from me, he'll hand your child over to me. I'm the one he truly loves. By the way, do you want to know what happened to those 5 little bastards you gave birth to? She took out her phone and held it up in front of my face, gloating. My whole body trembled uncontrollably. Quite a show, isn't it? Go ahead and have this bastard. In the end, he'll meet the same fate as the others. I raised my hand in utter frustration, but Lin Manman was quicker. She snatched up a shard of the broken bottle from the floor and slashed it hard across her own palm. Blood welled from the wound, and she let out a piercing scream. Hearing the commotion, Gu Pacey rushed over and shoved me aside. He gathered Lin Manman into his arms, then turned and roared at me. Kai Wn, what on earth are you doing? Before I could even explain, Lin Manman began to sob pitifully. Pacey, today is the day we announce our marriage to the world. I only wanted to invite Miss Kai in for a drink, but she accused me of stealing you from her. She even scratched my hand. I don't know if it's because she lost her child, but her mental state seems unwell. Gu Pacey's eyes turned dark and menacing as he looked at me. I'm the one who promised to marry Manman. If you have a problem, take it up with me. How dare you take your anger out on her? Manman is a doctor. Her hands are meant to save lives in the operating room. How could you be so cruel as to harm them? With a mother as vicious as you, it's no wonder every child you bore was stillborn. That's your karma. I stared at him in disbelief, as if I were seeing him for the first time. I pointed at Lin Manman, screaming through my tears, my retribution. It's you who deserve to be punished, Gu Pacey. How dare you tell me the truth? My children were perfectly healthy inside me, so why were they stillborn, and what did you do with their bodies? Gu Pacey frowned and said, "Of course it's because your own constitution is weak that you've dragged the child down with you. It just wasn't detected when you were carrying it. I've already given the child's body a proper burial. What's the point of saying all this useless stuff now? Hurry up and apologize to Man-Man." My hand fell limply to my side, and I let out a bitter, self-mocking laugh. I knew this would be the answer all along, so why does my heart still ache this much? I picked up a shard of glass from the floor and, without a moment's hesitation, severed my own little finger. Blood instantly gushed forth. "Xiaowan." Gu Pacey's eyes widened in shock. "You're right, Gu Pacey. Miss Lin's hands are meant to perform miracles on the operating table. Her palm was cut. Will repaying her with one of my own fingers be enough?" With that, I turned and walked away, watching my retreating figure and the pool of blood on the ground. Gu Pacey felt an inexplicable pang of panic and wanted to call out to stop me. But Lin Man-Man wrapped her arms around him. "Pacey, my hand hurts so much." After several moments of hesitation, Gu Pacey ultimately did not come after me. Just before I was wheeled into the operating room, Gu Pacey called, "Xiao Wn, how's your hand?" "Don't worry, Man-Man's hand is fine. It was my fault today. I know you've been blaming yourself for the children's deaths all this time. I shouldn't have said those things to you. But I did promise Mom that I'd go through with the wedding ceremony with Man-Man. It's just a formality. But if we delay it, I'm afraid she'll be upset. She's getting on in years, and her heart isn't strong. I'm worried." I cut him off. "I'm fine. You take good care of her, and don't let your mom worry." Gu Pacey smiled. "Silly Xiaowan, what do you mean your mom? She's *R* mom. Don't worry, I'll make sure Mom accepts you eventually. I'm going abroad the day after tomorrow. I'll come home to spend time with you tomorrow and bring you some treats. Be good." After hanging up the phone, I glanced into the open doorway of the adjacent hospital room. On the television meant to help patients pass the time, a news segment was playing. The CEO of the GU Group dotes on his fiancée to an extreme degree. Merely because she got a small cut on her palm, he summoned top medical specialists from across the country overnight to examine her, to cheer her up. He went so far as to spend a staggering $300 million to win an auction for a jade roller, a beauty tool once used by a consort of a bygone dynasty. I looked at the doctor. "I'm ready. I can go in now." Even with the anesthesia, I could feel the cold instruments moving inside me. I had lost another child. After leaving the hospital, I clutched my empty stomach as silent tears streamed down my face. "I'm so sorry, my baby. Please don't look for me to be your mother in the next life." The next day, Gu Pacey didn't come home. He only gave me a call. "I'm sorry, Xiaowan. I wanted to spend the day with you, but my mom suddenly isn't feeling well. As her son, I really have to go check on her." Just a minute ago, Lin Man-Man had just posted on Weibo. She was dressed in a bathrobe. Gu Pacey, bare-chested, knelt on one knee massaging her feet, his eyes filled with infinite tenderness, his face still flushed with lingering desire. Clothes were scattered all over the floor. A clear sign of a recent passionate encounter. I gathered all my belongings and set them ablaze. Early on the third morning, just as I arrived at the airport, Gu Pacey sent me a message. "Xiao Wn, are you up yet? Remember to eat breakfast. I really hate leaving you. I miss you so much already. Be a good girl and wait for your husband at home. I'll bring you a gift when I'm back. I'm missing your lips. I wish I could kiss them right now." I looked up and saw him in the distance, locked in an embrace and kissing Lin Man-Man, while still managing to text me with his free hand. He's really been through a lot. I didn't reply. Instead, I bundled up the photos from my phone, sent them to Gu Pacey's work email, and set a timer for the delivery. I turned and walked towards the boarding gate in the opposite direction from them. Meanwhile, Gu Pacey arrived at the overseas wedding reception. His mother and a crowd of guests were already waiting there. The atmosphere buzzing with excitement, he checked his phone and, seeing I hadn't replied, a flicker of unease stirred within him. After a moment's thought, Gu Pacey called his assistant. "Book a flight for my wife to come here tomorrow. With me away, she must be feeling lonely. After all, by tomorrow, his wedding with Man-Man would be over. There would be nothing Xiaowan could do to cause a scene." Just as Gu Pacey took Lin Man-Man's hand and stepped onto the stage, his assistant rushed up. Phone in hand. "Mr. Gu, it's terrible. She found out that you gave your wife's child to Miss Lin to be used as a specimen, a few hours ago. She boarded a flight to another country. We just received word that the plane has crashed. Gu Pacey froze on the spot, the words I do, poised on his lips, instantly caught in his throat. Lin Manman shot a displeased look at the assistant. Who are you calling madam? I am Mrs. Gu. Do you want to keep your job or not? She tugged at Gu Pacey's sleeve and whispered, Pacey, hurry up and say I do. All the guests are watching. Gu Pacey seemed to snap back to reality, only to shove her aside. He grabbed his assistant by the collar, his hand trembling uncontrollably. What are you talking about? How could Xiaowan possibly know about those things? And what the hell is this about a plane crash? She promised me she'd wait for me at home. Why would she be going abroad? How dare you jinx her? I swear I'll kill you. His words were skeptical, but his eyes were bloodshot, as if he wanted to devour someone. The assistant, trembling with fear, handed him the phone and stammered, Mr. Gu, I'm really not lying. You've been busy preparing for the wedding these past 2 days and had me handle your work email. Just now, when you asked me to book a flight for your wife, this email came in. It contained all your chat records with Ms. Lin, those photos of the children, and, what else? Spit it out. Gu Pacey roared, there's also an abortion certificate. The madam was 2 months pregnant, but for some reason, she had the procedure last night. Gu Pacey snatched the phone, seeing its contents. His entire body went rigid. Li Chuan stepped onto the stage, escorted the assistant away, and patted Gu Pacey's shoulder with regret. Pacey, I just had someone look into it. Kai Wan did board a flight several hours ago, and that flight has indeed crashed. Gu Pacey's face turned deathly pale as he stared blankly at him. Xiao Wan was pregnant. Why didn't she tell me? Why did she have an abortion behind my back? Why did she leave me? Li Chuan, of course, had also seen the contents of the email. Seeing him so utterly devastated, she let out a sigh. What other reason could there be? She bore you 5 children, and you let every single one of them die. Wasn't that enough? You even gave their bodies away as specimens to be dissected. It's no exaggeration to say they weren't even left whole in death. How could she ever dare to have another child with you? Better to never be born at all than to meet such a cruel end at your hands. Pacey, I told you that day, those who betray a sincere heart deserve to swallow 10,000 needles. You brushed it off then. So what's with this pitiful state you're in now? If you truly didn't care about Kai Wan at all, why did you instruct your assistant to address her as madam? Let me be blunt with you. I saw Kai Wan outside the door that day. The moment you finished speaking, her tears fell instantly. There's no way she didn't hear. The only one deceiving themselves here, plugging their ears while stealing a bell, is you. Do you really think she'll stay by your side after learning that her marriage of so many years was nothing but a lie? That the husband she loved so deeply was in love with someone else, that he was willing to kill her own child to please his mistress, and is now about to marry the very woman who dissected her baby? All her love, her sacrifices, her guilt, it's all become a cruel joke. Pacey, if you're determined to marry Lin Manman, I won't stop you, but now that Kai Wan is in trouble, are you really sure you want to go through with this wedding? Do you truly have to be this cruel to her? Li Chuan fell silent. Gu Pacey's mind was reeling. In an instant, a torrent of thoughts flooded his mind. Exactly, if he truly only saw Kai Wan as a tool, why would he instruct his assistant to address her as madam? His gaze swept over the innocent little flower girl standing nearby. Just a moment ago, upon seeing them, Gu Pacey was suddenly reminded of the 5 children he had with Kai Wan. He remembered the way Kai Wan's eyes had sparkled with anticipation for their children's arrival. With each child she lost, the light in Kai Wan's eyes dimmed a little more, until it was completely extinguished. So Gu Pacey thought, if Kai Wan were to get pregnant again, he would let this child grow up safe and sound. He still loved the way her eyes sparkled, like stars, yet the one he had always wanted to marry was Lin Manman. So why, on this very wedding day, as he looked at Lin Manman's flawless makeup, did he not feel the happiness he had imagined? He began to imagine what Kai Wan would look like in a wedding dress, probably not this glamorous, but more gentle and ethereal. At that thought, the I do he once believed he'd say without hesitation now stuck in his throat. Lin Manman held onto his arm, her expression tinged with urgency. Pacey, stop overthinking. This is just Kai Wan's little game of playing hard to get. She's trying to sabotage our wedding because she can't stand the thought of it happening. You've been spoiling her all these years, and it's gone to her head. She's just a mistress who belongs in the shadows. Does she really think she can become Mrs. GU? She's living in a fantasy. She was just a tool for you to vent your desires. Now that I'm back, her death is irrelevant. Sending you that filthy miscarriage certificate as if you'd care. How pathetic. Lin Manman was haughty, and GU Pacey used to adore that about her. But now, seeing the contempt in her eyes, it felt so unbearably sharp. Xiaowan wanted to be a mother so badly, she wouldn't have gotten an abortion lightly. Remembering the date on the abortion certificate, GU Pacey grabbed Lin Manman by the throat, his expression fierce. What exactly happened between you and Xiaowan at the hotel that day? What did you say to her? Right after your argument, she went and had an abortion. It was the first time he had ever been this harsh with Lin Manman. Lin Manman was terrified. But she forced herself to appear calm. Pacey, aren't you overthinking this? What could I possibly have said to her? She's the one who's jealous that I'm marrying you. She hurt me first. Didn't you see it all? That wretched woman is a leech, desperate to latch onto you. She'd crawl on her knees to get into the GU family, and she'd stop at nothing to clear any obstacle in her way. Her heart is vicious. Don't you dare be soft-hearted and fall for her tricks. GU Pacey had genuinely been in love with her for many years, and understood her better than Lin Manman herself did. One look at the expression in her eyes was all it took to know she was lying. He didn't let it go. Instead, he immediately instructed his assistant to pull up the hotel's surveillance footage. Lin Manman's heart sank, a flash of venom in her eyes. GU Pacey was actually investigating her for that good-for-nothing broodmare. She rattled on, Pacey, today is our wedding. Don't let some insignificant person ruin such a perfect day. Okay, I've seen plenty of women like Kai W'n back in my school days. They'll use any trick in the book to climb the social ladder. She's not sincere about you at all. She's only after your status and money, no matter what she said. GU Pacey remained completely unmoved. In fact, as GU Pacey looked at Lin Manman, he saw a person utterly transformed from her usual aloofness, her eyes now filled with nothing but ferocity and venom. A sudden thought flashed through his mind. Was this the person he had been infatuated with for all these years? No matter how you look at it, Xiaowan's child died because of her. Not only does she feel no remorse, but she's also full of venom. Xiaowan is nothing like how she's being described. In fact, Xiaowan never once asked him for a single cent. She even agreed to demands like a secret marriage and foregoing a wedding ceremony altogether. Even when I deceived her, and under my mother's pressure, had to go through with the wedding to Lin Manman, she already knew the truth yet never uttered a single complaint, not even a question. GU Pacey had never felt his heart ache for Kai W'n quite like this before. The assistant returned shortly, after watching the surveillance footage. GU Pacey's face darkened with fury. He flung Lin Manman to the ground, looking at her with utter disgust. You disgust me, Lin Manman. I'm telling you right now, it's over between us. Lin Manman stared in disbelief, then clung to his leg, sobbing. Pacey, don't treat me like this. Didn't you always want to marry me? I've already agreed to be your wife, so why are you backing out now? Is it because of that bitch Kai W'n? What's so great about her? She's nothing but a cheap homewrecker. If she can bear your child, so can I. She only loves your money, but I love you for who you are. Enough. GU Pacey kicked her away and said coldly, you love me, yet all these years, you've been more than happy to accept every gift I gave you. You've been stringing me along while basking in the vanity I provided. Did you really think I was too blind to see it? I liked you before, and I admit I poured money and effort into it. I even gave you Xiaowan's 5 children as specimens. I promised to make you my wife and give you the grandest wedding. So why wasn't that enough? Why did you have to show Xiaowan those videos and photos, say those things, and force her to abort the child? Do you have any idea how frail her health already was? How could you be so cruel? Xiaowan is nothing like you described. She never asked me for a single thing, and she's not the other woman after all. She was the one by my side long before you agreed to marry me, Lin Manman. The one who's truly despicable here is you. I hereby call off the wedding. My wife is Kai W'n. You'd better pray that Xiaowan pulls through. If she doesn't, I won't rest until you've paid the price. You and your entire Lin family should be prepared for the consequences. GU Pacey turned to leave, but his mother suddenly stepped in front of him, blocking his path. Pacey, where do you think you're going? Are you really going to ignore your own mother? What's so great about that low-class woman? Good riddance, she's saving resources by being dead. Our GU family doesn't want her child either. You will finish this wedding properly, or I'll disown you as my son." The ever-filial GU Pacey shoved her aside, his eyes icy cold. "Then go find yourself another son to take care of you in your old age. I'm going to find Xiaowan, no matter what. And one more thing, you're just like Lin Manman. If either of you dares to speak another slanderous word about Xiaowan, don't blame me for what happens next." GU Pacey stormed out of the hotel and booked the earliest flight back home. The moment he arrived home, he was stopped dead in his tracks by the scene before him. It's all gone. All of Xiaowan's things are gone. She didn't leave him a single thing to remember her by. Staring at the empty house, GU Pacey felt he must be hallucinating. Otherwise, why could he still see Xiaowan's figure, still see traces of her life everywhere? GU Pacey remembered a small wooden horse in the southeast corner of the living room, one he and Xiaowan had made together. It was Xiaowan's first pregnancy. She said she was an orphan and only managed to get into university with the support of her village. Meeting him was what finally gave her a home. Once the baby arrived, she was determined to be the best mother she could be. But her wish was not granted, for she had personally smothered that child, and so it was, every single time thereafter. The kitchen was spotless, as if it had just been renovated, yet in the past, Xiaowan had arranged it to be intricate and cozy. With every piece of tableware carefully chosen by her, she had promised herself that she would use these things to cook delicious meals for him every day, so that whenever he came home, a warm and tasty dinner would be waiting. Later, because she refused to use protection, she got pregnant time and again, only to lose each child. Her spirit and body were utterly drained. And she no longer had the strength to labor in the kitchen. Memories from the past came flooding back. GU Pacey didn't have the courage to look any longer. He closed his eyes, but tears still fell. She remembered a friend once saying that those who betray a sincere heart deserve to swallow 10,000 needles. Back then, he thought the one in his heart was Lin Manman. What did Kai Wan's genuine feelings even matter? But when he finally saw his own heart clearly, he understood. This is what real pain feels like. Li Chuan called. Pei Sai. There's still no news from the rescue team. After all, it was the open sea. It's not that easy to find someone. I've just uncovered some more information, and I think you need to hear it. It turns out Lin Man had long been caught in the act by the professor's wife for seducing him. The scandal blew up, and the school expelled her on grounds of improper conduct and moral depravity. The whole story about needing specimens for a medical experiment was nothing but a lie to deceive GU Pacey. She was simply afraid that if Kai Wn had the baby, and she herself later married into the GU family and had children, it would lead to a fight over the family fortune. The only reason she came back to the country so recently is because she's a serial homewrecker. Over there, she was universally despised and managed to piss off some powerful woman. That woman was hunting her down everywhere, vowing to end her life. That's why she came crawling back, seeking GU Pacey's protection. Pacey, do you get it now? Lin Manman is no good. Those 5 children are truly innocent. GU Pacey was silent for a long time. After a long pause, he finally spoke, his voice hoarse. I need you to do a few things for me. Go on, I'm listening. Lin Manman returns tomorrow. I want you to give her address to the big shot right now. I don't want to see her come back alive. Furthermore, combine all the financial and material resources of our 2 families to crush the Lin family with everything we've got, until they're bankrupt. Li Chuan paused. Those 2 things aren't too difficult. What do you plan to do next? GU Pacey found the forged marriage certificate he had commissioned in the trash bin. It had been torn to pieces, utterly shredded, torn so thoroughly that the person who destroyed it wished it had never existed. GU Pacey thought to himself. The debt he owed Kai Wn could never be repaid. I'm going to find Xiaowan, whether she's alive or dead. I have to find her. When I think about it, I've been pretty lucky to survive. Just before boarding the plane, a foreign girl in line ahead of me suddenly had an acute appendicitis attack. I was the only one in the whole place who could understand what she was saying. It was a matter of life and death, so I took her to the hospital. It wasn't until after the surgery that I saw the news report about the plane crash. The foreign girl's name was Julie, a really cool and impressive young woman. She had originally come here alone for a trip. Who would have thought that this little mishap would end up saving her from a fatal disaster? Following the principle of seeing a good deed through to the end, I looked after her for a while, and we ended up becoming friends. She noticed my missing pinky finger and asked how it happened. Perhaps I'd been holding it in for too long, but I didn't hide the truth. After hearing my story, she simply asked me one question: "Want me to help you take care of that bastard and his bitch?" Trust me, I'm pretty damn good at this sort of thing. I thought she was joking, but I was still grateful for her kindness. How could I possibly trouble an innocent person? After Julie was discharged from the hospital, she invited me to her place. I didn't refuse, to evade Gu Pacey's pursuit. Julie had someone arrange new identification documents for me. When I arrived at her home, I realized this girl was truly impressive, wealthy and well-connected. It seems the big shots always have their ears to the ground. Julie soon informed me that Lynn Manman was dead. She was found in some back alley in Country M. Her body battered beyond recognition, with one area in particular bearing the worst of it. Gu Pacey also called off the wedding with her, publicly announcing that he already had a wife and was now searching everywhere for traces of me. I can't figure him out. Wasn't he utterly fixated on marrying Lynn Manman? What's going on now? But it has nothing to do with me. I just didn't expect to see Gu Pacey so soon. I was originally shopping with Julie, but she got an upset stomach from lunch and is in the restroom right now. In the blink of an eye, Gu Pacey's figure appeared before me. His beard was unkempt, giving him a weary look, with dark circles under his eyes, and he had grown much thinner. Gu Pacey walked up to me step by step. I turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. "Xiao Wn, let me look at you." "Let go, don't touch me," I said coldly. Gu Pacey quickly released his hand, as if afraid of angering me. "Xiao Wn, I know I've made a terrible mistake. I failed to see my own heart clearly. I hurt you, and I caused the death of our child. I don't dare hope for your forgiveness. I just wanted to see you one more time, to tell you I'm sorry in person." I looked at him with cold detachment. "Gu Pacey, what you need to do right now isn't to show up in front of me and spout some bullshit apology. You should go and atone for your sins." Gu Pacey nodded repeatedly, his demeanor utterly servile. "I will, but Xiaowan, if there is a next life, will you let me make it up to you properly?" I could see the hope in his eyes. "It's a shame, but it's all too late now." I raised my hand, missing a finger, and said quietly, "Gu Pacey, the doctor told me that day that if I had just retrieved the severed finger in time, it could have been reattached. But I refused. Do you know why?" Seeing my maimed hand, his eyes welled up with anguish, and he shook his head. "Because I knew, what I severed wasn't just a finger, but all my feelings for you, from the moment I discovered the truth. I had already decided in this life, the next, and for all eternity I would leave you and never look back." Gu Pacey instantly turned deathly pale, his body swaying slightly. After a long pause, he forced a smile that was uglier than a grimace. "I understand, don't worry, I won't bother you again. Xiao Wn, I wish you happiness." Gu Pacey left. 5 minutes later, a loud bang echoed from downstairs, instantly causing an uproar. "Oh my God, someone jumped. Looks like a handsome Asian guy. Call an ambulance, quick." It's no use. His brains are all over the pavement, as they'd say. He's already met his maker. Julie finally emerged from the bathroom, heard the commotion, and asked me curiously, "What's all that racket? What's going on?" "It's nothing, just a futile attempt at atonement." The end. Story 2. He politely threw a stack of photos onto my desk and said, "Think about it, let's cooperate." I took a closer look and found that the photos were all fragments of my husband and my best friend being intimate. I stared at the man in front of me, who was holding a helmet and wearing a racing suit, and said, "How do you want to cooperate?" Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. As soon as Han Songchen left, my best friend Fang Xiaoyun sent me a WeChat message. "Honey, how do I look in this bikini?" Then, she sent me a photo. In the photo, she had a good figure and her skin was as white as jade. The sky blue bikini made her even more beautiful. However, her right hand was holding someone, but the specific appearance and figure of that person couldn't be seen. I deliberately asked, "You got a boyfriend right after you got divorced?" "Yeah. I mentioned it to you before. When my ex-husband cheated on me, I found this backup. I helped Fang Xiaoyun with her divorce lawsuit against Han Songchen." I even led the police personally to obtain the video evidence of Han Song-chen being caught in the hotel. All of this was to ensure that my best friend would win the case and that the scumbag would get the punishment he deserved. But now, I'm the clown, because the backup my best friend found is my husband, Ji-Yu Kai. In the photo, the ring finger of that hand was still wearing the same couple ring as mine. 3 days ago, Fang Xiaoyun said she wanted to go out and relax. She took my arm and acted coquettishly, "Shuang shuang, come with me, it's so lonely to go alone," but I really couldn't spare the time. I happened to have another case to deal with these 2 days. I refused, saying, "Be good, I'll go with you as soon as I finish my work." At that time, Fang Xiaoyun stared at Ji-Yu Kai, who was cooking for us in the kitchen, in an ambiguous way and said, "Then let your husband accompany me." I tapped her on the head and said, "Get out of here." She had always been outspoken and liked to joke, so I didn't pay much attention. Upon hearing this, Ji-Yu Kai was suddenly stunned. Then, he turned around holding the cooking spoon and said with a smile, "Xiaoyun, stop joking, I'm really busy with work and don't have the time to amuse you too." Fang Xiaoyun pouted and protested, "You two, as a couple, just don't care about me." Now that I think about it, she said that on purpose to Ji-Yu Kai. Ji-Yu Kai also doted on her. That night, he told me he had to go on a business trip. It turned out that the two of them had planned to go on a trip together. The next day, Fang Xiaoyun knocked on my door. She hugged me cheerfully, saying, "Baby, I missed you so much." I endured the nausea and pretended to hug her, with a very light force. She noticed something was wrong and pushed me away, asking curiously, "What's wrong with you?" "Shuang shuang." I pretended to be relaxed and said, "It's nothing." She didn't doubt it anymore. Instead, she tugged at the dazzling gold necklace around her neck and said, "Look, my boyfriend bought this for me. Is it nice?" I was stunned and stared at it again and again. Wasn't this the year of the Snake limited edition fortune necklace that I had taken a fancy to before? I had mentioned it to Ji-Yu Kai, intentionally or unintentionally, that I wanted to receive it on my birthday. But on my birthday, Ji-Yu Kai used the excuse of having to work overtime at the company and couldn't accompany me on my birthday. The next morning, when he came home, I smiled and stretched out my hands, saying, "Gift." As he put down his briefcase, he asked in confusion, "Gift? What gift?" I stood there in a daze, thinking he was joking, but he still looked at me blankly. I then realized that he had completely forgotten my birthday, let alone the gold necklace I had mentioned. But now it seems that he didn't forget my birthday, he just didn't want to celebrate it for me. He was just pretending. I smiled absently and then replied, "It's nice." Fang Xiaoyun raised the corners of her mouth, showing a victorious posture. In the past, I might not have thought there was anything wrong with it, but now, I know that she did it on purpose. "Hey, what are we all doing standing at the door?" I don't know when Ji-Yu Kai stood behind us. I had expected that they would come back today because there was an important dinner party at the Chow family tomorrow, and Ji-Yu Kai had to come back. "Since your husband is back, I won't disturb your couple's time together," Fang Xiaoyun said to me and also gave Ji-Yu Kai a meaningful look. Ji-Yu Kai didn't stop her from leaving. He closed the door and hugged me in his arms. "Shuang shuang, I haven't hugged you for a few days. Why do I feel like you've gained weight?" His head was buried in my neck, and his warm breath blew against my ear. I chuckled and pushed him away, saying, "I haven't gained weight. Maybe you've hugged a woman who is thinner than me." Ji-Yu Kai froze in place, looking flustered for a moment. Quickly, he grabbed me as I was about to turn away and said, "Don't say such things. Besides you, who else would I hug?" Then, he took out a bag from his pocket and handed it to me, saying, "Shuang shuang, this is the birthday gift I'm making up for you." I took it and opened it to have a look. There was a box in the bag, and the bottom of the box was sticky. When I opened it, it was a gold bin ring with a red string. I noticed that there was a gift mark inside the bag. Presumably, this was a gift given when buying the gold necklace. I disdainfully threw the things on the ground and said, "No need." Then, I took out the gold necklace that I had wanted from the bedroom. I casually put it on my hand and said to Ji-Yu Kai indifferently, "Giving me something that's left over from others and expecting me to be grateful. Ji-Yu Kai, I can afford this thing. Asking you to give it to me was to give you a chance." Ji-Yu Kai's face suddenly turned ugly, but he still refused to admit it and said, "Stop making trouble, this was bought for you. I know you're not short of money, but this is my thoughtfulness." I looked at the gift label and nodded disdainfully. At the Chow family's dinner party, Ji Yukai and I interlocked our fingers. And he gracefully talked with the guests. You and your wife are truly a perfect match. After all these years, you're still so in love. I'm so envious. That's right. I bet you'll have a baby soon. Everyone was chatting happily, and Ji Yukai echoed, soon, soon, Shuang and I will still be in love even after another 10 years. I raised the corners of my mouth and looked at the man I had once loved deeply, who was full of lies. My stomach felt as if it was churning. Shuang. Fang Xiaoyun's voice sounded behind me. I suddenly turned around and saw her waving at me gracefully. She rushed to my side, took my arm, and said happily, baby, I can finally attend your family's dinner party. Logically speaking, those who could attend the Chow family's dinner party were either rich or noble. There was only one explanation for Fang Xiaoyun's appearance. Ji Yukai had allowed it. Ji Yukai and I looked at each other for 2 seconds. He mumbled, why are you looking at me? Isn't Xiaoyun your best friend? Don't you allow her to attend the dinner party? Before I could speak, Fang Xiaoyun acted coquettishly again and said, baby, I went for an interview at Ji Yukai's company yesterday and passed. He said that since I have a good relationship with you, he would bring me here in advance to experience the grandeur of high society. You're not unhappy, are you? I smiled and said, of course not. I'm so proud of my sister for being so amazing. Then, I turned my head and said to Ji Yukai, why didn't you tell me in advance that you hired her? Ji Yukai said, didn't I want to give you a surprise? I nodded thoughtfully. Just right, I also have a surprise for him. The main purpose of this dinner party was to find a partner for a project. Because of the large amount of funds involved, the Chow family specially organized this dinner party. As my husband, Ji Yukai was naturally confident, and the powerful and wealthy people present also flattered him. Seeing that the dinner party was about to start, the person I was waiting for hadn't arrived yet. I was a bit anxious, so I went to look for that person along the corridor. Unexpectedly, when I passed by the stairwell, I heard some strange sounds coming from inside. My hasty steps immediately stopped. This sound, once I get this project, I'll take you to Bali for a trip. No, when are you going to divorce Qiao Shuang? I want you to marry me. Just thinking that you have to touch her when you go back at night makes me feel bad. Ji Yukai sneered and said, you're even getting jealous. If it weren't for my parents being eager to have a grandson, who would want to touch her? She's always like a dead person every time. So boring. It was still exciting last time, when that stupid Qiao Shuang was helping me check the surveillance of Han Songchen. The two of us were in the hotel stairwell, the moment I learned the truth. My blood turned ice cold. It was indeed Ji Yukai who accompanied us that day. I was so absorbed in watching the surveillance that I completely forgot that Ji Yukai and Fang Xiaoyun had gone out one after another. My heart ached so much that I couldn't breathe. Just as I was about to push the door open, a hand suddenly grabbed my wrist. Don't be impulsive, they won't end well. A pleasant voice reached my ears. I looked up, and Han Songchen's sharply defined silhouette was against the light. His warm hand covered the back of my hand. I blushed and pulled my hand away. He said, let's go, finish the important thing. I suppressed the anger in my heart and nodded. Ji Yukai adjusted his clothes at the door and then sat down beside me. He explained to me, I had a bit of a stomachache. I looked ahead and ignored him, until Fang Xiaoyun also came back from outside a minute later. She walked over quickly and sat down on the other side of me, deliberately revealing a clear hickey. She said, baby. It's my first time at such an occasion, it's really an eye-opener. I sneered and said, well, it really is an eye-opener. She thought she had won a trophy, but she didn't know that the show was yet to come. On the stage, my father read out the names of the companies that came to compete for the project. The first one was the name of Ji Yukai's family. Finally, my father put down the booklet in his hand and said, this competition is fair and just. Please have the leaders of each company come on stage to give a self-introduction. This confused Ji Yukai and everyone present. They had thought that this was a predetermined quota, and not many people would have prepared in advance. At most, it was just going through the motions. Ji Yukai was thus pushed onto the stage and stumbled as he talked about his plan for the project. Because he was so confident of winning, he couldn't come up with good solutions to many common problems in the project. He also made some jokes, and some people whispered, can he really take on this project? Damn, if I were the son-in-law, I could do it too. A man who relies on his wife. I thought he had some real ability. Beads of sweat also appeared on Ji Yukai's forehead. Okay, let's welcome the next one. Amid the curious gazes of everyone, Han Song-chen confidently picked up the microphone and began to talk at length about his plan for the project. 10 minutes later, there was a round of applause from the audience. Everyone already knew who would win the project. During this period, Ji Yukai tugged at my sleeve, frowned, and blamed me. Qiao Shuang, did you deliberately embarrass me? You knew that today's process was different from usual, but you didn't tell me in advance. I spread my hands and said, who can you blame if you don't have the ability? Fang Xiaoyun was stunned as she watched Han Song-chen, who used to be unruly, now shining brightly. And she regretted it deeply. She couldn't believe it and grabbed my hand, saying, Shuang Shuang, when did Han Song-chen become Mr. Han? I smiled and said, after you divorced him, he went home to inherit the family property. Fang Xiaoyun said unhappily, it was you who obtained the surveillance footage and personally helped us get divorced. It's all your fault. You made me lose my good life. I think you're a green tea bitch. After saying that, she picked up a glass of champagne on the table and threw it at my face. I don't know when Han Song-chen walked to my side, he pulled me aside, and the champagne missed me and spilled all over the floor. After I stood still, without saying a word, I quickly picked up the champagne and threw it at Fang Xiaoyun, accompanied by her scream of ah. Everyone at the scene looked over, her hair was wet. She was in a sorry state, and she sat on the ground wailing. She pointed at me and shouted, this is the daughter of the Qiao family, bullying a woman who has no power or influence. There were many media reporters at the scene. They seized the opportunity and rushed over. They started questioning me without distinguishing right from wrong. Miss Qiao, do you really hate your best friend that much? Can't we be friends with you if we don't have money? You seem so friendly usually. But I didn't expect you to play such a duplicitous game. Fang Xiaoyun cried pitifully. When all the cameras were on her, she suddenly stopped crying. Then, she said to the camera, it's all her. She colluded with my ex-husband. I didn't see her true colors until I got divorced. She has already had an affair with my husband. After saying that, she took out her phone and opened a photo. In the photo, I was holding Han Song-chen's wrist with one hand and squatting down, not knowing what I was doing. Anyway, from that angle, it really looked like Han Song-chen and I had intimate contact. I thought about it carefully. This was probably the day he came to find me. When we went out of the company to do something together, I sprained my ankle and instinctively grabbed his wrist. I never expected to be photographed. When I was being severely criticized, Han Song-chen stood up. He said coldly, Fang Xiaoyun, haven't you had enough of accusing others first when you're the one at fault? Next, I'll show you what it means to be too clever for your own good. In full view of everyone, Han Song-chen put a video on the screen. Before he even clicked to play the video, just by looking at the cover, I knew what he was going to show. I didn't care about anything else. I took 2 steps at a time and rushed onto the stage, snatching his phone and disconnecting the Bluetooth connection. I shook my head at him and said, no, if you play this video now, it will be an invasion of someone else's privacy. Moreover, there are too many live streaming devices here. You might even get arrested if things go wrong. My professional ethics compelled me to do so. While everyone was still confused, Ji Yukai panicked. Others might not know what it was, but he knew very well. Fang Xiaoyun stood in front of the stage, haughtily saying, play it, Han Song-chen. Why don't you dare to play it? Seeing this, Ji Yukai rushed forward and covered her mouth, whispering fiercely in her ear, enough, Xiaoyun. He forcefully dragged Fang Xiaoyun out of the hall, and the reporters were blocked by his bodyguards. Han Song-chen frowned and asked me, just let them go like this. I smiled bitterly and said, we can't sacrifice your future for these 2 despicable people, can we? After hearing this, Han Song-chen burst into laughter, almost unable to close his mouth. The corners of his mouth curved into a nice arc, and he said, you underestimate me, Qiao Shuang. He clicked on the video that hadn't been played on the public screen just now. In the video, Ji Yukai and Fang Xiaoyun were seen holding hands and kissing during their trip to Jeju Island. Since it was nighttime and the visibility was poor, I mistakenly thought it was the video he had taken outside the stairwell just now. I stamped my foot in regret and muttered to myself, my damned professional habit. Han Song-chen shook his head at me indulgently and said, I really can't do anything about you. At night, Ji Yukai pushed open the door of the bedroom and pulled me into his arms. His voice was soft, with a hint of flattery. Shuang Shuang, things aren't as you think. She and I are just friends. Xiaoyun is your best friend, so I agreed to let her join my company. Isn't that to show you some respect? I smiled but remained silent, staring intently into Ji Yukai's eyes. He felt a chill under my gaze. Then he took out his phone and put Xiaoyun on the blacklist right in front of me. He raised 3 fingers solemnly and said, I, Ji Yukai, swear to the heavens that I won't do anything to betray my wife. He shook my arm, as if acting coquettishly. Wife, talk to me. I forgive you. Without hesitation, I casually pushed his hand away. I added, I'm too tired today, don't touch me. Just go to bed quickly. I turned on my side and stopped looking at him. However, from the reflection of the bay window, I saw him smiling triumphantly. I guess he was thinking that I was easy to placate. The next morning, the phone rang. Hello. I answered the phone in a daze. A very deep and ambiguous male voice came from the other end. Ciao, get up quickly. I'll take you to City H to have soybean milk and fried dough sticks. Ji Yukai beside me was awakened by our commotion. Hearing the man's voice, he immediately sat up alertly and questioned me. Who is that, inviting you to breakfast early in the morning? I got up lazily and started choosing my clothes. Then I casually said to Ji Yukai, oh, a friend inviting you to breakfast early in the morning. What kind of breakfast requires going to the neighboring city to eat? Can't you have it at home? Facing his questions, I just felt annoyed. I perfunctorily answered him while quickly changing my clothes. He's not an ordinary friend. He's a partner of the Chiao family. After saying that, I heard a rumbling sound downstairs, so I ran downstairs without looking up. When I got into Han Songchen's supercar, Ji Yukai leaned out from the second floor. Put my wife down. Damn it. The supercar sped on the highway, and I was touching up my makeup in the car. Han Songchen suddenly said, actually, I didn't cheat when I was with Fang Xiaoyun. I stopped the hand that was about to stick on my false eyelashes and said, is this a scumbag's redemption story? He was amused by my words and explained, that woman is the secretary of my client. I investigated her privately. She had contact with Fang Xiaoyun. Shortly after my divorce, I found that she frequently entered high-end clubs, so I vaguely suspected that Fang Xiaoyun gave her a lot of money. After all, she got a lot of money from me. Han Songchen was right. The main purpose of my helping Fang Xiaoyun with the lawsuit was to get his money. I asked him, so you didn't have anything happen with that woman? Holding the steering wheel, he looked a bit confused and said, actually, I'm not sure, because I was really dizzy that day. I don't know exactly what happened. Then I realized that it was very likely that Fang Xiaoyun had set a trap. The purpose was to empty all of Han Songchen's possessions and even make him lose his reputation. Fang Xiaoyun didn't expect that Han Songchen had hidden this from her. His parents were well-known figures in Beijing, but they were very low-key. While I was thinking, Han Songchen's phone rang. I accidentally caught a glimpse that it was from Fang Xiaoyun. Han Songchen ignored it. It wasn't until the phone rang 3 times that I said, answer it and see what she has to say. Then he pressed the answer button and turned on the speakerphone. What is it, Aiken? I'm pregnant. Can you come and pick me up? At the door of Fang Xiaoyun's villa, when she saw Han Songchen getting out of the sports car, she rushed over in a hurry and put her arms around his neck. Husband, I regret it. Can you give me another chance? Her shoulders were twitching, and her eyes were incredibly red. For the sake of caution, Han Songchen insisted on taking her to the hospital for an examination. She was unyielding and held up the examination form in her hand, saying, I've already had an examination, don't you trust me? Han Songchen smiled softly, walked beside the supercar, and said to me, sorry, the car can only seat 2 people. I'm sorry to trouble you. I sensibly got out of the car. Fang Xiaoyun incredulously stepped forward and raised her hand. You fox. It's all your fault that I got divorced. I grabbed her wrist and squeezed out through my teeth. Fang Xiaoyun, don't push your luck. After saying that, I walked outside, hailed a taxi, and left. On the way back to the law firm, I looked at my phone. Ji Yukai had called me dozens of times and sent countless messages. What's the relationship between you and Han Songchen? If you go, don't come back. You're such a fickle woman. Wife, I was a bit harsh. Please come back. While flipping through the chat records, Lawyer Liu, who had the best relationship with me in the law firm, called me. Hello, Lawyer Chiao. Something terrible has happened. When I rushed to the law firm, I found that the company's sign had been smashed. There were also several glaring red words sprayed on the wall. Xiao Shuang is a mistress who destroys other people's marriages. She deserves to die. People around were pointing fingers at me. Only Lawyer Liu stepped forward to comfort me. Don't listen to those gossips. I know best what kind of person you are. I've always kept my personal life and work separate. So the people in the company didn't know that I was the daughter of the richest man in the city. I was very touched that Lawyer Liu could be so close to me. Thank you, Lawyer Liu. She took out 2 bottles of white spray paint from her bag and smiled, saying, "Come on, let's wipe them off." I frowned, but in the end, I did as she said. After all, I had caused trouble for the company. Seeing that I was in a bad mood, Lawyer Liu insisted on taking me for a few drinks. The colorful lights flickered, shining on the lonely people. Lawyer Liu went to the restroom and didn't come out for several minutes. "Sorry for keeping you waiting. I had a bit of diarrhea today." She apologized and poured me a glass of wine. I took a couple of sips, and my head started to feel dizzy. I wanted to go to the restroom to wash my face and sober up. On the way, I caught a glimpse of 2 familiar faces, Fang Xiaoyun and the mistress of Han Songchen at that time. They looked at me with smiles, resting their chins on their hands without any scruples. The next second, my eyes went black, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, the sunlight shone through the gap in the black curtains onto my eyelids. I opened my eyes slightly, and a warmth came from beside me. It was a man's arm. Then, the door was pushed open with a bang, and someone shouted loudly, "Xiao Shuang, you seduced my man." I got up abruptly, and several people holding phones rushed in from outside. "Everyone, come and take a look. Lawyer Xiao Shuang has no moral integrity and is having an affair while married." Friends in the live broadcast room, "This is the top lawyer in our eyes. In fact, she's just a slut. I heard that she stole her best friend's husband and forced them to divorce." Fang Xiaoyun was in the lead. She crossed her arms over her chest and smiled triumphantly. The man beside me was sleeping soundly, lying on his side with his face covered by the quilt. I tightly held the corner of the quilt, trying my best not to be photographed. I trembled in fear and said, "Fang Xiaoyun, you guys, what you're doing is illegal. I even regarded you as my sister, and I helped you with the lawsuit for free, helping you take away the scumbag's property. Is this how you repay me?" She didn't show any guilt for lying and sneered, "My dear best friend, if I had known that Han Songchen's parents were powerful, I would never have divorced him. As for you, you just couldn't stand to see me doing well. When Ji Kai chose you between the 2 of us, you should have been content. But after you got married, you always showed off with those high-end goods, saying that you bought too many and would give them to me. Weren't you just showing off your superiority? Your family is so wealthy, but you still pretend to be poor outside. Your colleagues don't even know your identity. If it weren't for me, Lawyer Liu would still be kept in the dark by you." It turned out that Fang Xiaoyun had always held a grudge against me. Ji Kai and my family were a good match in terms of social status, and I had truly loved him. She always thought that my family background dominated my relationship with Ji Kai. I was afraid that Fang Xiaoyun wouldn't have a good life, so I kept looking for suitable people to introduce to her. In the end, she found Han Songchen, the racing driver. By herself, she often told me how excellent her husband was and how rich he was. I smiled brightly, took her hand, and said, "Yunyun, as long as you're happy." Then I turned around and gave her bags and jewelry worth tens of thousands of yuan. I didn't expect that she thought I was showing off. Lawyer Liu adjusted her glasses frame and raised her phone with a smile, saying, "Lawyer Qiao, you've ruined me." I was confused and looked at her blankly. She laughed maniacally. "Back then, we joined the company together. Your academic qualifications were not as good as mine. And you took on fewer cases than me. You weren't even among those who worked overtime. But what happened?" A trace of sadness flashed in Lawyer Liu's eyes. "But you have a wealthy family, great power, and are good at speaking. That's why you won Mr. Pei's favor and were given so many major cases. Are people like us, who have no family background, just meant to be the stepping stones for your promotion?" She pointed at Fang Xiaoyun resentfully and said, "If it weren't for Xiaoyun, I would still be kept in the dark. I was wondering why I couldn't catch up with you no matter how hard I tried. It turns out that you're the daughter of the richest man. The world is so unfair." After listening to her accusations, I just felt a pang of pain in my heart. Over the years, I haven't had an easy life. Although I don't have to worry about food and clothing, I also have my own ideals and ambitions. I only take on major and important cases and have never lost a case. That's why I became famous. Normally, I help those poor victims who can't afford a lawyer with their lawsuits. I often stay up late, memorize legal provisions, or watch the trial processes of some cases. But I've never been showy and have always been low-key, however. Lawyer Liu misunderstood me and thought that I never worked overtime and didn't work hard. A satisfied smile appeared on Lawyer Liu's face. She stepped forward and grabbed the corner of the quilt. However, today, you will fall from your pedestal. She pulled the quilt away, and the man beside me was revealed. Everyone was stunned. Ji Kai was hugging me. Outside the door, there was the sound of applause. What a frame-up. Everyone turned around in unison. Han Song-chen, dressed in a suit, was clapping and cheering. Fang Xiaoyun unconsciously took 2 steps back, covered her mouth, and stammered, You shouldn't be in Xiao Shuang's bed." The corners of my mouth curved slightly. I picked up the sheer coat beside me and put it on. I lowered my eyes and woke up Ji Kai, who was still sleeping soundly. He opened his eyes sleepily. The moment he saw Fang Xiaoyun, his pupils suddenly shrank, and he sat up from the bed. "Since everyone is here, let's make things clear." I turned my head and said to the camera, Ji Kai and Fang Xiaoyun wanted to join forces to push me and Han Song-chen to the forefront of public opinion. During the time I was helping Fang Xiaoyun with the lawsuit, she met Lawyer Liu, and the two of them hit it off and designed this trap. How did I find out that Lawyer Liu was acting strangely? When she took out 2 bottles of white latex paint, I clearly saw that there was a 3rd bottle of red paint still in her bag. Later, Fang Xiaoyun brought Han Song-chen to the hotel, saying that she wanted to get back together with him. Han Song-chen pretended to agree and came to the hotel. Fang Xiaoyun put a sleeping pill in his wine glass. He pretended to drink it and then pretended to be asleep, and she carried him to the bed. Then, she and Han Song-chen's mistress went to the bar to meet Lawyer Liu. They happened to see that I was also out of my mind after drinking, and they brought me to Han Song-chen's room. That's right, actually, I didn't drink the drugged wine either. I called Ji Kai and told him that the project my dad gave to Han Song-chen could be his, and he came quickly. So, this is the scene you see now. Fang Xiaoyun slumped to the ground, shaking her head and muttering, "No, it's impossible. How could this plan have leaked out?" I smiled and said, "Xiaoyun, no matter how much you calculated, you never expected that the Ji Kai who said he loved you is much more realistic than you, right?" I turned my head and looked at the man on the bed whom I had once loved desperately. My heart was filled with bitterness. Ji Kai's phone password had never been changed. On the night he begged me to forgive him, I opened his phone for the first time. I took Fang Xiaoyun out of the blacklist, and I saw their chat records. Ji Kai, I've come up with a way to make Xiao Shuang lose her reputation completely, so that you can divorce her justifiably. Just let her sleep in the same bed as my ex-husband. I'll find someone to do a live broadcast and make them never recover. Ji Kai, are you crazy? Xiao Shuang is my wife, and I won't divorce her. Fang Xiaoyun, don't lie to me. Okay, Ji Kai, my hands are shaking now. You were the one who told me to get divorced. You said you would marry me. Now I have nothing. I really only have you left. Ji Kai, damn it, stop pestering me. It's your ex-husband who caused me to lose the project that was already in my hands. Do you know how much money I lost? Fang Xiaoyun, that's why I said let them both lose their reputations. Ji Kai, get lost. Upon learning the truth, Fang Xiaoyun's legs went weak, and she slumped to the ground. Tears streamed down her face, making her look pitiful. She cried and shouted at Ji Kai, questioning him. Did you really never love me even for a single day? Were all the years we spent together fake? Ji Kai turned his face away, not daring to look at her, and said, I never loved you. Sleeping with you was just for the thrill. Men are much more realistic than women. Fang Xiaoyun stood up reluctantly and roared, No, it's impossible. You said you loved me. After saying that, with overwhelming hatred in her eyes, she turned her head and looked at me. Almost in an instant, she picked up a vase from the hotel and threw it to the ground. The vase shattered instantly, and the water in it splashed everywhere, causing the scene to be in chaos for a while. She picked up a piece of the fragment, shouting and rushing towards me. Since he doesn't love me, you won't be able to get his love either. No, be careful. 2 men shouted simultaneously. The moment the fragment fell, I instinctively closed my eyes. When I opened my eyes again, I saw blood spreading on the ground. I looked up and met Han Song-chen's gaze. He covered his wound and asked me cautiously, "Are you okay?" Tears suddenly filled my eyes, and my fingers trembled as I stroked the injured area. The warm blood kept flowing, and I was crying so hard that I couldn't speak. "Call an ambulance. Hurry, call an ambulance." Everyone was stunned with fear, including the netizens in the live broadcast room. At this time, Ji Kai had already controlled the crazy Fang Xiaoyun. The others were also in a hurry to call 120 and 110. A month later, outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, "Can't we not get a divorce, Shuang Shuang?" Ji Kai's broad hand gripped my slender wrist. "No, I remember when you proposed to me, I asked you a question. Did you say that you would only love me for the rest of your life? What did you say?" He paused for a moment and remembered that year when he firmly said to me, "Who else could I love if I don't love you? You are the only one I love in my life." But Ji Kai's life of love for me was a bit short, only 3 years. He felt a bit melancholy, and more than that, he was regretful. His eyes suddenly turned red, and he sobbed, "I'm sorry, Xiao Shuang, I betrayed you, and I deserve to be in this situation today." I gently pushed his hand away, with a look of melancholy on my face. The boy who brought me breakfast every day in high school, fetched me hot water, and was the first to stand up for me when I was bullied had long since drifted away. The most memorable time was after he confessed to me and I agreed. He was more than 1,000 kilometers away, couldn't get a ticket, but still stood for more than 10 hours and came to the city where I was studying to celebrate my birthday. I believe there is true love in this world, but true love can change in an instant. Forget it, Ji Kai, our story ends here. I resolutely stepped into the Civil Affairs Bureau. He slowly followed me in his extremely reluctant state. We got the divorce certificate. We came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau together. He looked at the foggy and rainy day and finally burst into tears, pulling me into his arms. "I can't live without you, Xiao Shuang." Just then, a supercar roared over and stopped beside us. Ji Kai immediately held back his tears. When I saw that it was Han Songchen, a smile immediately appeared on my face, and I ran towards him, saying, "I thought you weren't coming. Then let your husband accompany me, Tilda." Han Songchen said in a sarcastic tone. Amidst Ji Kai's endless regret, "I got into someone else's car. Let's go. My dad is still waiting for us at home." During this period, my dad had been keeping a close eye on the project managed by Han Songchen. Compared with the projects that Ji Kai had been in charge of before, Han Songchen was really dedicated. Just looking at the profits, they had increased several times compared to before. At the dinner table, my dad couldn't stop smiling and praised him as a young talent. Looking back, my dad had never looked at Ji Kai directly and always felt unhappy. At first, I was determined to marry Ji Kai, and my dad could only go along with my wishes. Now that we have settled things with the Ji family, our family business has been getting better and better. During the meal, Han Songchen mentioned, "Uncle Qiao, I heard that you liked playing with supercars when you were young. How about we have a race?" I immediately stopped him and said, "My dad is getting old, don't drag him into this nonsense." My dad wasn't happy when he heard this and said, "You little girl, what are you talking about? How am I old? Let's race. Let's do it today. Boy, I'll show you that Shuang Shuang's dad is never someone who will admit defeat." He even stamped his foot in a hurry, making our whole family burst into laughter. That night, my mom and I were at the finish line, and we waited for my dad and Han Songchen one after another. Han Songchen got out of the driver's seat, took off his helmet, clasped his fists together, and kept praising, "Uncle, you're so skilled. We younger generations really need to learn from you." My dad also got out of the car. He was very pleased to hear the praise. He also said modestly, "Not at all. The younger generation is formidable. The younger generation is formidable." My dad immediately commanded me, saying, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and pass some water to Xiao Han and wipe his sweat." Han Songchen changed his words according to the situation and said, "Thank you, Dad." The end.